You're listening to GUFON Radio with Rich Giordano.
My personal belief is that there is very compelling evidence that we may not be alone.
There has been and is an existing presence, an ET presence. It's not going to make a difference. It's not going to change reality.
I believe, as do the other folks that were on the flight, that when we visually saw it, that it was something not from this world.
GUFON Radio.
You were either in or you were either out, brother.
But the cream will rise to the top, oh yeah.
GUFON Radio with Rich Giordano.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
GUFON Radio.
Remain seated, please. Permanecer sentados, por favor.
You're listening to GUFON Radio with Rich Giordano.
Welcome to GUFON Radio Stream. I'm your host, Rich Giordano. It is March 20th. It's a Wednesday, middle of the week, and we are now about to see the humps turn into lumps, bumps, and bruises. Tonight is the final debate on Bob Lazar between Rich Giordano versus Spaced Out Radio's own Dave Scott. As you can tell, we're both here at our corners right now, ready to be announced. And the battle will begin. Dave, are you ready?
I am so ready. I am pumped up, brother.
Let's keep it down now. Don't get excited.
I'm ready to go.
You keep it down.
I'm ready to go.
You keep it down, brother.
Don't
make me come over there, brother. I'll turn you upside down and do the leg drop right on your esophagus, brother.
Let me tell you something, brother. There is no way, brother, that you could win this match, brother. You're like hitting fairies flying through the sky, brother. Well, I am taking out razor blades and cutting them through trees right in the Canadian wilderness right now, brother. You cannot compete, brother.
Oh, let me tell you something, Mean Gene.
Iran, number one. Russia, number one. USA. Ha!
Brother. Well, obviously we got to let that out because there's a lot of hostility about this Bob Lazar character. Yes, I say character because Dave, I don't buy the story, and we're going to do a debate on this right now. So those of you who've been waiting all day, since last night actually, Dave made the challenge inside on his show. Challenges me, right? In the chat room.
What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do?
Calls me out on Bob Lazar. Are you silly? What have you
Totally.
done? Have you done hit your head? Huh? What is the matter with you? What's the matter with you? So we're going to start this tonight. By the way, if all of you are listening, you know that we start the show off kind of like what the other fella does over there. But without coffee, tonight we have nos. NOS is the drink of choice for this evening. It'll keep your wings from getting too big and your bra.
Son of a gun.
Oh, what happened?
I forgot my Pepsi. I forgot my Pepsi. I can't do this without
Dave,
my Pepsi.
go get
Hold
it.
on.
I'll make an announcement. So while Dave's looking for his, you know what he's doing. You know what he's doing right now, right? He's going to go get some help. He needs the help. Me, this is normal. I'm always on edge. I'm always ready to strike. Dave, see, this is where Dave's going to have a problem. He doesn't understand the veracity of little Richie G, the dynamo, the sheriff of ufology. I'm here with NOS. Why am I holding this like I actually get paid to hold it? All right, let's take the drink for tonight. Oh, my God. That hit all pipes. Rich, there's only one pipe. Why do you keep saying there's more than one? I feel like I've got 9. Okay. Hey, Rich. Richie from Boston. Good luck, buddy. Screw you. Hey. All right, so Dave's back in his chair. Dave has got his Pepsid. Like I said, he will need it.
All right, I'm ready.
All right. So
I am ready.
Now, I want to make the rules before we get crazy here.
All
Dave
right.
and I will remain friends after this is over, yes?
Of course.
We will go until we can't go anymore, correct? Up until...
Correct.
Until you have to do your
Well,
show.
until like 8:45 Pacific when I got to duck on out of here.
Well, in all reality, we only need 5 minutes. Yeah.
Well, that's
All
right, because I won't even pin you for the 3 count. It's going to be a King Kong Bundy 5 count when I'm done with you. That's how rattled you are going to be. I don't even have to hook the leg, buddy. You're just done.
So as you can see, Dave's a little threatened by me, has to come out swinging. So the next rule is, all right, so we already established the rule that we're going to remain friends. We go until 8:45. Probably won't have to go that long.
Sure.
Because
Sure.
even the Corbell movie isn't that long. It's an hour and 37 minutes. So I think we'll get done way before that. And thirdly, we remain friends.
Of course. Of course. I mean, even though you're wrong on this, we'll still remain friends. I'll still like you.
Dave.
And your 72 pairs of sunglasses and whatever you got.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to let you start off this debate. I'm going to let you take the reins. I was going to start it. But because
No, it's your show. It's your show. You go right ahead because I want to laugh right off the bat. I need a laugh here. I've had a serious day. I'm tired, and I need something to make me giggle. So I think you need to start.
Well, there is no moderator here, but I do have bullet points and things that we.
Well,
could
where's
touch
Bart?
on.
Where's Bart L when we need him?
Bart L. Oh, hi, he's in the chat room. What do you?
Oh,
want?
there he is.
What do you think?
Praise be.
Praise be. Do we? We don't need a moderator, do we?
No.
No,
I think we're civil enough.
But I see a lot of angst in the chat room. A lot of things going on. All right,
people are pumped up. I just want to know right now how many people in the chat room have steel chairs within reaching distance right now, because this is how serious this is going to get.
And how many have the table that I'm going to throw Dave on later? See, he's got to hit me in the back. I actually pick him up and let him know it's going to hurt. You know, He hits me when I'm not looking. But anyway, Dave, I want to talk about how this got started. Bob Lazar supposedly worked at, what was it, S4, Groom Lake, Papoose Lake, Area 51, whatever you want to call it. Is there really a right? I mean, it's all the same. Said he worked on reverse engineered alien spacecraft. There's 9 discs that he knows of that he said that are from ET origin. His words. Gravity amplifiers, 3 little chairs. And then all of a sudden he and John Lear, by the way, Bob Lazar was hired. Now, they are vetting somebody. Wouldn't you think that the government would vet somebody thoroughly before they hire him to work on reverse engineered alien craft? Okay, so
I think they did.
That I think they would. But he's friends with UFO buffs. Who is it? John Lear, who we all know, took the woo wagon to another city, and George Huff. Now, we know these guys. I mean, they're talking about aliens on Mars, traveling back and forth, secret space program, the whole nine. Things that we make fun of Wilcock for, Corey Good, Asagio, and others. Now, with that being said, Bob Lazar went public as Dennis when he first was originally brought on the scene by George Knapp, the investigative journalist. And
who, by the way, is a true investigative journalist, not like certain baristas out there.
Not like Ryan Sprague. I'll say it. I don't give a shit. So Dave, believes that George Knapp, and this is for you because you're a journalist. So knowing what the path that George Knapp had to go through to get the information to come out on national television, which went global within hours, why do you think that George Knapp did what he did, and why would Bob Lazar come out? Your questions I'll rebut.
All right. Well, I look at this from a completely different way than you do or most of the people in ufology. Actually, you know what?
That's the
UFOlogy. Just to piss you off.
Oh, you're
UFOlogy.
Good. Oh, you son of a bitch. It's on now.
Yeah. No. Look at you. The veins are starting to pop out around your gums there. Your polydent is loosening up. You're so pissed about that
You son of a bitch. You son of a bitch. I'll take these teeth out and I'll make you humble, motherfucker. Well, that actually doesn't work. I just dissed myself, I think. All right, go. Well, all right. I owe you one there. So that hurt.
Yeah,
I'm taking that as an 8 on a 10 scale.
That's where we are right now. This is war right now. I mean, that's what we have to do.
Well, let's hear about the little journalist who couldn't handle a lie if he knew it was standing in front of him. Let's hear about George Knapp.
All right. So when you work in a newsroom, okay, I want everybody first and foremost to take their bias against mainstream media, throw it out the window for right now. Okay, because we are looking at this in a 2019 point of view. We are not looking at this in a 1989 point of view. That's 30 years. 30 years. Okay. Back then in the 80s and into the 90s, up until the whole OJ case really changed news to infotainment. There were actually a thing there that on television, and they're a rare breed now, that we called reporters, journalists, investigative journalists. And the topic that hasn't changed up until recently, when it came to the topic of UFOs, what happened or what would happen is you have to, in order to do a story, when you work in a newsroom, you have to bring that information to your news director and you say, I got something hot here. All right. I got something hot. And your news director or your news editor is going to look at it and say, yes, run with it, or no, that's a BS story. When it comes to UFOs, it's always been, really? You're going to run with that? Absolutely not. Not on my station, not on my airtime. Like, bring me some real news. So when it comes to Bob Lazar, okay, you got to realize George Knapp was with KLAS at that point for just 8 years. That's not a long time. I mean, now he's been there 30 plus. All right. And when that story came out, he would have had to somehow get people on board to say, yes, Bob Lazar works there. Yes, Bob Lazar is there. Because if I was his news director and he came up to me and said, Dave, I want to run this story. I got this guy who says he's working on alien technology at a hidden base inside Area 51. I'd be like, what are you smoking? What are you on? We're not running with that. And then I would say, prove it to me. Who are your sources? Who are you talking to that has given you this information? Because in order for me to spend some time on this, I need proof. And I've had that happen on a much smaller scale when I was working in sports in Vancouver. All right. So when you break a story that big, your news directors or your higher ups want to know where you're getting that information from. And they want to be able to confirm it for themselves, because when it comes to something like national security, when it comes to something along the lines of aliens and UFOs and something outlandish about this, that there is a whistleblower coming up, you, by God, want to make sure that everything is taken care of. You want to make sure that legally you're allowed to do it so the station isn't going to get sued. You want to make sure that you have proof that the gentleman is there, even though that proof will probably never come out in public. And that's how it happened. It has to. Anything else I would not agree with, because if anybody came up to me, I mean, it's different for what we do, like with Spaced Out Radio or GUFON or something along those lines. Yeah. But this is a major network in a major city in the United States who breaks this story. And for that information to be able to come out, whether he went in as Dennis or eventually Bob, does not matter. But he would have had to, George Knapp would have had to confirm those sources. Now, my speculation, which is extremely speculative on this, and I'm assuming, I have no proof whatsoever, he would have needed somebody to high up to confirm that Lazar worked there and Lazar is the real deal. Otherwise, that story would have never got on air. News directors hate this topic. They think, in a news director's world, they think that everybody involved with a UFO community lives in the trailer park, has no dental plan, works the night shift at a gas station or convenience store, has no higher than a grade 9 education. All the stereotypes that we would expect, that's the way the media treats people like us. And I know for a fact, because I actually called in a UFO report to my former radio station, and my buddy John answered the phone, and he's like, "What are you smoking, Dave? How much have you had to drink tonight?"
So with that said,
that's how they take that.
Right. Okay. So that's the George Knapp route. You know, he's got to cross his T's and dot his I's, which we know he does. Or do we? Now, look, this is when he was kind of young, kind of new, wanted a breakout story. So I am willing to bet, because I don't know if there's just Robert Krangle is the only person that verified he worked or saw Bob Lazar there. You know, I'm not sure. Krangle has no proof either. So if George Knapp had a story, and this is what bothers me. If George Knapp had this story, are you telling me that he brought in the proof to the program director or whoever runs the newsroom and showed him the verified people that the
Absolutely.
people... So what, at that point, do you know what happens? Now, does he verify?
Okay.
Does he verify George Knapp? Because I don't believe George Knapp did everything you think he did. And I know you want to say it because you're a journalist and he's an investigative journalist. I get that. But the problem I have with him is that I think he was looking for a story. Bob Lazar seemed sincere. Yet, if you look at his body language, he really wasn't. But that's, you know, neither here.
You and your body language. I mean, you see a light, a street lamp, and you're tweaking your nipples, man, thinking it's a UFO.
When have I been wrong? Thank you. And now you were gonna. I know that one had to hurt. So tell me what the process is. So he just goes through.
So here's this is what I think, and this goes along with my speculation. And like I said, I could be completely wrong on this.
Okay.
John Lear is not going to get Bob Lazar on the air. All right. Who is the other guy? Gene Huff?
Gene Huff.
Was that the other guy?
Yeah.
Gene Huff is not going to get the guy on the air. It has to come from some other source. Now, we do know that through time, all right, that George Knapp has built up a very comfortable relationship with Bob Bigelow. We also know that he has built a very comfortable relationship with Harry Reid, the former Nevada senator. Something in my gut tells me that one of those two were involved. Absolutely involved with that. All right? Because there's only two ways or a couple ways to get that information out. You need somebody in a political higher up who knows about this program. You need a government contractor who knows about this program, or you need somebody from the military base who knows this program, or you need other people who work with Lazar to come out and say that he was there, but they're not willing to put their career on the line for that. That's the only four ways that this story can come out. Now, for the fact that it did, this story does not run, and I'll tell you why. If it was fake and it came out as completely fake, George Knapp would not be hosting Coast to Coast right now. He would not have a job at KLAS because he would have it would have embarrassed his station. It would have embarrassed his career. All right. There's a lot there's a lot on the line here when it comes to George Knapp. And he's a vulture that way. He's a complete vulture.
Dave, look, he took a shot. He got lucky. That's how I see it. It could have turned bad.
Oh, come on. That's not how this isn't sports where you step up to the plate and swing, and hopefully in the bottom of the ninth with your team down by 2 runs, you hit a 3-run shot.
Yes, it is. Imagine you're sitting at your desk. You're George Knapp for 8 years. You haven't made it big. Wow, now this story comes your way. Do you know how the story got to him, by the way? I'm asking. I don't know. I don't remember.
As this is the official word that I believe happened is somebody tipped off, and I think it was John Lear tipped off George Knapp or Gene Huff, one of the two, tipped him off.
Beautiful.
And said, we have a gentleman here who wants to come public about UFOs.
That's right. It makes sense now.
Okay.
These guys were going broke. They needed money. They couldn't pay their mortgage. You know the story, right? You've heard it.
Yeah, but no. See, that's where you're wrong again. I mean,
why am I wrong?
There's the bitch slap happening right there.
Yeah, you're hitting yourself. Right? That's smart. That's smart.
Well, I can't hit you.
Well, that's right.
I can't hit you, buddy.
Hey,
okay,
I'm defending myself.
The point is,
but it's true.
Okay,
Dave, but you have to look at it that way, man.
You don't pay somebody for a story. They're not paying for this story at all.
Okay, John Lear they all could have come up with this story. I'm just saying, I don't see the evidence that Bob Lazar worked there. That's the problem we're having that's why we're doing this. So we're only at the beginning part here. How did this story get to him? John Lear. The guy could be a little nutty, okay, with his stories.
Absolutely.
Okay, nice guy. And Huff, same thing maybe. So that's what worries me. Why would they be so interested in tipping George Knapp to this? Do you know?
This is why I'm saying they wanted the story out, okay? Because
go ahead.
The alleged story behind it is that after Lazar, his girlfriend at the time, Lear and Huff were caught at Area 51 filming UFOs, that Lazar had his life threatened. All right? He had his life threatened. And therefore, in discussion with them, they realized that sometimes one of the only ways to survive is to make yourself public.
Hold on right there. I got to announce something. I forgot.
Okay.
I hated to do that to you, but if the show freezes, some of you who I know we've got a lot more listeners than we normally have. Thank you for all showing up. But sometimes there's glitches in the matrix, and this show will go offline for 5 minutes. If that happens, the show will be back online. It takes usually 5 to 6 minutes. So don't go anywhere if the show disconnects. I'll be back in 5 to 6 minutes. And Dave was continuing with Bob trying to save his life.
Okay, so we just want to also clarify that if we do get frozen, there's a good possibility it's because Rich hit the cry button and he needed some time for himself in order to regain his composure before continuing this debate.
Tears of laughter. Tears of laughter.
Anyways, moving on here.
Right.
So so they approached George Knapp about this. This is how the so-called official story is. They approached Knapp. Knapp said, okay, well, let's run this story. And they ran it, right? And that's how it got on the air. But knowing how newsrooms work, and it doesn't matter if you're in a newsroom in Vancouver, where I was, or a newsroom in Toronto or New York or Las Vegas or LA, they all work the same. When you are about to put something like that on the line, you have to have your T's crossed and your I's dotted. That's why I believe, and I don't think George Knapp will ever give it up, okay, because he's got to protect his sources. I really believe that there was something or someone bigger for him to confirm this, that Lazar was the real deal, and they ran with it on the air, and they continued to run with the story because it took off like wildfire.
So interesting.
People were in love.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, immediately. It's like it was perfect for this story to come out, by the way. I think X-Files came out. Didn't it come out already in 88, I think? I don't remember.
I think it came out right afterwards.
Maybe. And that's interesting on itself that would happen right then and there. It could have been, and I've always thought maybe Bob Lazar was a shill, or, maybe he was not programmed, but prepped to have this role to maybe bring disclosure out slowly at that time 30 years ago to see how people would react to it. And you know what? We did pretty good, I thought. There was no internet back then, but as a country, as the world, we did actually pretty good hearing this guy's story. Nobody went crazy over it, in the way that they had to kill themselves, change religion, and all that. So I think it might even be that. If you think about who it came from, John Lear, introducing him maybe to George Knapp, we'll have to verify, but I think that's right. Tipping him off. Well, does that make sense with Bob Lazar now having his life threatened and can't prove that either? Brake lines cut, he had an Uzi in his car. I mean, all this stuff, that just sounds made up to me. Because you know why? Because they don't miss. If they want you out, they take you out. Or do they miss? Is this like 24? You know what I mean? It sounds a little bit like a movie to me. It's almost like, listen to Jussie Smollett telling his story. That's what it reminds me of. It's too perfect.
Well, of course it's too perfect,
and there's
but
a lot of
holes.
Also
on the media side, there is no holes.
Oh,
there is the only hole there's one hole. Who are the sources that George Knapp used to confirm this story? That's the only hole.
Yeah, I have to keep remembering this is 30 years ago where we didn't have fake news like we do now. We had people lying, but we couldn't verify it. So that's a totally different thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's the problem. Okay, is in today's Bob Lazar debate, we have a lot of people out there who are convinced, okay, and I'm not saying it's you or anybody else, okay, but we have a lot of people out there who are looking at this from a 2019, even going back to 2018 view of the media comparatively to what it was back in the 80s. And that's where I think we get a lot of blurred people and a lot of blurred vision in regards to Lazar. Don't forget, in that report, there is not going to be a lot of information that is held back, but there's going to be some. And what that information is, we will never know. That's private information between them. All right? That's private information between the sources. And I know there's a lot of people out there today, proof. Give me proof.
Yeah.
I want proof. Give me names. Give me this. Give me that. They're not going to give it to you. I have sources. I'm not going to give you their names.
What if they passed away? Is that okay? No. So you know what would really make this an incredible case, and which it is already by no means. Not trying to make it less than what it is. Why couldn't George Knapp Like, they dragged poor Bob Lazar. He kept saying, I don't want to talk. I don't want to do a movie. I don't care about money. Their story is they literally dragged him to do this.
Yeah.
Why couldn't they drag the guy who they confirmed it with and try that? Unless they did and we don't know about it. But I'm thinking that would have really solidified his actual being there. And look, maybe he did work there, but I don't know if it was in the capacity that he is saying.
Whoa. Maybe he did work there?
Well, we're not saying whether he did it.
Are you tapping out right now?
Oh God, no. Are you kidding me? I fell out of the ring. No, I'm saying maybe he did work there as throwing it. I never said he didn't work there. I'm saying, did he work on UFOs, and is his story valid? I think the guy was talking to somebody in the break room. They gave him the information on where to go look for UFOs at night on a Wednesday and videotape them. It could have been that. Like Stan Friedman said, and I know you're going to go off on this one, but Stan Friedman said he could have been the janitor. And the reason he says that is because there is very little proof that he really worked there. The paper trail is very thin, if non-existent.
I fully agree with you.
So
I fully. Oh, by the way, Cassandra said, Dave, do that knockout. It's right there, man. It's right there. And Rick almost put you down on the shoulders for a 3 count there. Just so you know. But you came close there. Look, there are holes, okay? There is the education. There's a big one there. And one of the questions when I interviewed Jeremy Corbell, and I'll tell you, I let Jeremy know very punctually how I felt about a couple of things.
Yeah.
All right? I let him know that I was not comfortable as what I consider a reputable journalist in this field to watch him parade Bob Lazar out on Secure Team 10. But I understood the answer, okay? I understood the answer, and that's 2.1 million followers
that's right.
on YouTube.
Yep.
All right? So I thought his answer was admirable. I really did. Whether you like Jeremy Corbell or not, I think that was good, okay? But, I mean, you're right. Lazar could have been the janitor. He could.
Wait
have
a minute.
been
Are you tapping
man.
out already? Are you saying he could have been the janitor?
No. Hey,
oh my God! You fell out of the ring too.
Not at all.
All right.
No, not at all. Hey, I'm Canadian, man. I'm used to get taking shots to the head, so I'm okay with this. Take another shot with the chair. It's okay. I'm still standing. I'm still standing. But what I'm saying is, if you want to look at it that way, he could have been. We do have a pay stub. Okay, when he said he worked at Los Alamos, there was proof there. People denied that he worked at Los Alamos, yet his name was in the Los Alamos phone book, which has been proven.
Could have only been there for 6 months. You don't need to live there to put your name. They could have come up and just put his name on an abandoned house or something. We don't know.
We're not talking the town, buddy. We're talking the office building of the building where he worked. Their phone book that they have.
That phone book? I thought you were talking about the other phone book.
No, we're not talking about the ones that your number's been banned from.
But he got paid by the Department of Naval Intelligence, right?
So?
Wasn't he? I thought that it should be EG&G or the other one. It starts with Wackenhut. Is that right?
Well, I mean,
I thought his badge, because he made a remake of what his badge looked like, and that just doesn't jive well with because usually they hire subcontractors to do that stuff, from what I understand.
Mm-hmm.
Should be,
and that's where it gets a little bit confusing.
Yeah.
Okay. That's where it gets a little bit confusing as to why does this not look right?
So there's your doubt. That should be doubt,
okay.
Right? You know what I mean?
I'm not saying that I'm not looking at this with a practical mind, unlike your biased mind, right? I'm looking at it practically. I'm calling this down the middle. You asked me to come on as to why I believe it's true.
No. I didn't ask you to come on.
Yes.
You challenged me.
I did challenge you.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Look, you're stumbling all over the map right now. You don't even know which way is up. You don't know which way is up. All right. Go ahead, barista boy.
All right. Oh, really? Wow.
That's right, brother.
You know what? That one hurt. I'm stumbling. And I have to tell you, I have to tell you this before we go any further.
Yeah.
So I'm wrestling with my son. I literally get home from my daytime job. My little boy is like, Dad, let's wrestle. Okay, it's on, right? So him and I are wrestling on the bed, and he's beating the hell out of me like he normally does. And all of a sudden, as we're just about to go for dinner, he sits up and he goes, bang, bang, right in my sack twice. And I was just like, oh, this isn't very Christian right now. Not very Christian whatsoever. Just dying here. So I'm already warmed up. I've taken a few shots already before you even came along. But in regards to it, I mean, Lazar has a lot of real intriguing things that could prove that he was not there, but can prove that he was there as well. And this is the big debate. I wish there was a little bit more clarity. I want to know who got him to George Knapp, because I don't believe that it was just the power of John Lear and Gene Huff. I don't believe that at all. There had to be somebody else. And that's what I am pushing on. That's why I believe the story, because like I said, Knapp would be literally selling car insurance right now in some small town in the Midwest United States where nobody would know who he is, because his journalism career would have been over.
Maybe.
If there wasn't more proof.
Maybe, maybe not. And obviously not, because he's still around. Maybe because the story went so global, it saved his ass. You know what I'm saying? So, you put more asses in the seats and, may have saved his job. But it could have tarnished his reputation as well, and it did not. And that's because people think he probably could only go so far and get so much information. There was only so much one man can do. And when you're going up against the government trying to, quote unquote, hide evidence that Bob worked there or worked on craft of extraterrestrial origin, he did have a task. And I think people let that slide by, that he didn't break open any proof that this is the guy who proved Bob Lazar was there. Krangle he had a conversation with and said, Bob, I remember Bob. Yeah, of course I remember. Of course. He probably says that even if he doesn't remember people. Oh, yeah, Mark Brown. Yeah, I remember Mike Brown.
Do you really believe that, Rich?
Yeah, I kind of do.
That people there are that stupid?
I kind of do. People are stupid, no matter how smart they are.
Well,
and we know that's true.
Oh, come on.
Come on, man. I just want you to listen. Think of this. You've seen many movies, so have I. The movie starts off, this guy comes out behind a camera, name unknown. We can't see his face. He's in shadow. Oh, my God. Now, all of a sudden, he thinks it's good because his life was threatened. Now, part 2 comes out. This is actually Bob Lazar. He worked at Area 51, Papoose Lake, Groom Lake, whatever you want to call it. He says there's all these discs, da-da-da-da-da. Part 3. And it was an ongoing thing for George Knapp. And it went global. Then he started talking and... Now, Bob Lazar didn't want to be out there in the public eye. Supposedly, he hated it. What I think he hated was lying. That's what I think. I think he's probably a nice guy, was paid to do this for a disclosure purpose. But look how young he was when they asked him to go work on alien craft. Why this kid? Why this young, impressionable kid you're going to bring from the outside? Were his grades that great? No. Because in high school, he was in the bottom third of his class, and you can't get into Caltech with shitty high school GPA, okay? So how does that all line up? I think this was something being played out in front of us, just like we're seeing with To the Stars Academy now. It's all little pieces that will end. All of a sudden, To the Stars Academy will go under. We'll never hear about them. Bob Lazar went away. 30 years later comes back. Was it for money? Was it for a little fame? Was it for Corbell to make money? Yes, yes, and yes. I think so. I think this whole thing was an inside job for the government to see how people would react if somebody that looked legitimate, sounded legitimate, sincere, clean-cut kid, didn't look crazy, have a long beard at the time or anything like that in the 80s. I mean, this is somebody who looked the part, played the part. Now you're going to say because he was the part. No, I don't think so. I don't think Bob Lazar's life was threatened because they're not going to miss. I don't think that he drove around with an Uzi because he was scared for his life. Going to the gym, coming out of the gym, and then, the doors were open and the Uzi was sitting on the front seat of the car. Nothing was taken. It was just as if somebody was saying, "We know, Bob. We know, and we're watching you." You know what? I've done tricks on people like that. I've done the same exact thing to people. Teach them a lesson. Lock your car doors. And I would open up their car doors watching the car the whole time, knowing they were going to leave their house. It could have just been one of his friends messing with it. It could have been John Lear testing him. It could have been the government. It could have been him. He could have made it up. It sounds crazy. It's too crazy. And the proof, I don't think there's a real paper trail. It's chopped up. Breadcrumbs lead you there to nowhere. Breadcrumbs lead you over there to nowhere. Breadcrumbs leave you over here to nowhere. There's no crescendo at this story. This movie is a dud, and that's why the Corbell movie was bad, because nothing new came out, really, unless you have anything groundbreaking that you could literally make this come to light for me.
Well, first off, what I want to say is I'm hearing a lot of opinion and conjecture, not a lot of fact.
Oh, I gave you some fact. I gave you some fact.
Where?
I told you.
I think I counted you saying "I think" like 6 times. 6 times you said "I think." Woulda, coulda, coulda, coulda. That is not fact when you're using the word "could."
It's part of the way I talk. It's the way I talk. That's how I talk.
Oh, okay. Bang, bang. Take that chair.
Yeah, because when I say "I think,"
you're bleeding.
What am I supposed to say? I don't think. Well,
you are bleeding. Lift your head up and show the audience where that bloody cut on your forehead right now.
There's no bloody cut.
You just took a chair shot.
I use no fake razors. This is all legit, except for my teeth. Now listen. I say "I think" because that's what I think, because I'm going off of what I read and know about him. So he had shitty grades in high school. How do you make it into Caltech? You can't. You got to be a 4.0. How did he make it? Where's the evidence? He made a remake of the badge. We didn't have no badge, the access with his ID and face on it. He had to make it up. And people say that's the real badge. No, it's not. It shouldn't even been by the Naval Intelligence. It should have been by EG&G or somebody else whacking hut. I'm telling you the truth. There was an Uzi. There was doors that were left open on his car. That's fact. But I think what happened is, because nobody knows, we're only going by what Bob Lazar is telling us at that point. He had to make the story seem legit, and it's pretty silly.
I think you got a little bit too much element 115 in your eyes.
Oh,
right
yeah.
now.
And what about the 500 pounds of element 115 he said they had stashed away? Yeah, good one.
Why wouldn't they?
500 pounds. Come on.
You don't know. You don't know.
Neither do you. Neither does anybody. Nobody knows. It's just a guy telling a story.
If Lazar worked there, which I think he did, he might have a clue about whether or not it was there.
And he's going to go on national television telling everybody about this stuff? No.
Nobody knew about 115. Okay.
No, the people were working on it back then.
No. Here comes another chair shot. So put your hands up to try and block it, okay?
These are just little battle wounds.
Here comes another chair shot, because I'm going to tell you right this. I may, after this chair shot, strap on the camel clutch.
I hope you do.
I may bring out my inner iron
I'd like to
here.
see you bring something. That would be nice.
Wow. I've been bringing it all night. You've been bringing opinion.
It must be invisible weapons. I don't know. I mean, you're going right through me. I don't feel it.
Listen, there was a big reason that only a couple months after this happened, that Bob Lazar signed a contract to start a company with Bob Bigelow. Now, granted, that company only lasted 6 months to a year. All right. But the fact is that the death threats ended. The fear that Lazar had ended. He's working with a multi-billionaire who we know is a black op contractor, who has a major hard-on for UFOs and ET technology. And they were looking for element 115 on how to create it. They never figured it out. That's why the contract ended. Okay. You don't all of a sudden, go on the news and end up working as Bob Bigelow's right-hand man. And that's exactly what happened. You can look that up. That's fact.
Yeah, and
That's
why did it
complete
go
fact.
under? Because he's not who he says he was.
They couldn't. No, that's your opinion again. That's not fact.
What's the
that's
fact?
Your opinion.
What's the fact?
The fact is they couldn't reproduce the 115.
Oh.
And 115 only came out publicly a couple years ago. Like 6-7 years ago.
2009, something like that.
Okay. Yeah, 2009, I believe. All right.
Publicly. But they've been working on it before then. Before Bob Lazar.
Trying.
Right. But before Bob Lazar mentioned
it,
they were already working on it. So it was nothing new to Bob.
Who's they? Give me the they. Give me the they. Who's they that they were working on it?
You said the same thing. They couldn't finish it. They were working on it. They couldn't make it work. Who's they? Bob and Bob? The two Bobs?
I got my information.
You got the two Bobs in your corner. That's the problem. Hey, Bob, meet Bob. Bob. Hi, Bob. Hi, Bob.
Bob.
And it goes like, and then that's what those guys were doing. They were trying to make it, and it couldn't happen, and it went to nothing because they couldn't do it together. And by the way, you know exactly who I mean when I'm talking about the people who work in the lab. Who else am I talking about? That's what you're coming at. You're saying the same thing. God, man, these weapons are weak. Am I here? I'm still here. Okay.
Funny, I'm winning the popular opinion right now via the chat room.
Yeah. Well, that's okay because they were already on your side to begin with. I have a harder...
No, they weren't. These are your people. These are your goofomaniacs who are turning on you
You know what's good about that? They're smart, and they know they have their own opinions, and they can think however they want when they come to GUFON Radio. That's why they don't all believe what I believe. They believe whatever they want to believe.
Now. Getting back on the heels right now. Do you need training wheels right now? Because you're starting to slip backwards.
Is it heels or wheels? You don't even know what I'm on. You can't even think straight right now. You're delusional. Hey, we were talking with Dave Scott. Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and I'm Rich Giordano. We're debating, hopefully for the last time, the final debate, whether Bob Lazar is a lying POS or did he work at 51 or whatever. Did he work with 9 discs? He didn't say 10 because 10 is too round. He used 9. 9 sounds legit. Don't you see the logic of a liar? Don't you see it? That's what you're not doing. Maybe you're not that versed in body language and facial fractions or whatever they call them, fractals. I can't think. You got me on this. I'm on this NOS drink. I'm flying. I think the guy literally was a shill. I think he was a plant. I think this was all part to try to see how the public would react if this story came out. And that's what I really think.
We were counting thinks there together with the audience, so we got 4.
What does that mean? 4. Thinks don't mean anything. I'm thinking.
Thinks
what am I supposed to say?
Thinks are opinion. They're not fact. Thinks are opinion.
We don't have a lot of facts with Bob Lazar.
I have presented an argument that could plausibly show that he actually did work there. What have you brought? You've brought
deniability,
opinion.
No, I explained to you that the badge isn't real. Anybody can have their name in a phone book anyway, whether it be the city of Los Alamos or where he worked.
It was not the city of Los Alamos. It was an actual phone book from the nuclear test site.
There couldn't be another Bob Lazar that worked there? I mean, there are Bobs out there. Think about it.
Well, I'm pretty sure that they would have done their cross-referencing. All right. How was he able to just walk in there when they took a tour?
Because he knew people that got him in there. John Lear knew people. They all knew people. A tour. Did you see him? Did you see him go on the tour?
What? You're
Did you see him go on the tour?
That has no fish now.
It's a story. Did you see him go on the tour? No, nobody did. We have stories. We have stories.
You are fishing in a lake where there is no fish right now.
Yeah,
that's how far off you are.
You know what? You're in space where there's nothing. And that's all there is with Bob Lazar. It's a nothing. It's a circle and a circle and a circle. You're never going to get the real truth. That's why we're having this discussion, because there is no truth. Everything I said, whether I said I
No,
think...
there's no truth because you don't want to believe it.
No, that's wrong. For years I wanted to believe it. And I did believe him in the beginning. And then when I got smarter and realized I learned how people act when they lie, there's more than just what he's saying, Dave, and what George Knapp says he has as credible people and evidence, which we never will know. Because we don't know, and you're thinking because George Knapp has a reputation to uphold that he would not come out with the story that would make him look bad, not take that chance to ruin his career. I say he got the green light, the responsibility wasn't his anymore, and they went with it. And that's why he's okay, because it went global. The story went global. The responsibility goes on the program director or his boss, but it goes on to his boss, and everybody knows that. You said it, that it gets approved. So if somebody approved it, then they could have approved it without that evidence that you say he needs to back up the story. It's a great story, and he probably sold it because he's a good salesman. I love George Knapp, and nothing against him. I just want to make that clear. But I think that he was hoodwinked into a story he couldn't back out of, and he had to go with it. That's what I feel.
No, okay. So where you're wrong right there in journalism 101 is you're never hoodwinked into a story that you can't get out of.
Have you seen journalism? All right? It's declined over the last 30 years. It started years ago.
Okay, so 30 years ago when this story broke, journalism was a lot different than what it is today. You didn't have bought and paid for or television stations actually telling you who to vote for.
Still ran by people. Still ran by a man who can make mistakes.
Still ran by people who actually cared about the product. All right? Cared about the product.
No, they didn't. They cared about putting asses in the seats and getting advertisers and making money. That's what journalism really is. It's all about, everything's about money, bottom line. There are people.
But there are people. The opinion again instead of fact.
No, I was just going to say there are people who are in this for the right of the truth and fight for the truth. That I can't deny that. But they got lucky, I think, that it didn't backfire.
Would you put your career on the line for somebody like Lazar?
I would have if I thought I was. If I thought I had answered all my own questions and did the research, and then I'm out of facts. I'm limited on what I can get. I bring it to my boss, and he says, "That's enough, man." And I say, "Okay, I'll go with it." I mean, as long as I'm backed up by the company, why wouldn't I go through with it? That's what I mean by the responsibilities.
Because journalism is a very fickle industry. They don't want this story. They have proven for decades that they didn't want this story. Where is the follow-up in the New York Times after that fantastic story that Leslie Kean and Pulitzer Prize winner, what's his name? It's on the tip of my tongue. Guys at Ralph Blumenthal wrote together. We all know the story. That came with fact. The New York Times has never written a full-length piece to follow up on that story, which is one of the biggest stories in mankind's history. Okay? Yes, there's a real issue with this story because news directors do not want to put their reputation, their paper, their television station, or their radio station on the line with this. Dude, I'm trying to syndicate spaced out radio right now. Okay? I have a lot of people who have told me already that, Dave, I want to break from politics in the evening. However, I don't know if my if spaced out radio would go well with our nightly audience because they're afraid to take that chance to broadcast something that everybody has an interest in. They don't want to be that guy. They don't want to be laughed at. They don't want to be in that circle where somebody across the street is making fun of them. George Knapp today, he's admitted to it, has taken a lot of heat over this story.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of heat. All right, because his fellow journalists call him, like you said, call him a liar, call him UFO man or whatever they want to call him.
Yeah.
Okay? For 30 years, he put his rep on the line for that.
And he's laughing all the way to the bank.
Okay, but if the story was wrong, no, he's not laughing to the bank because he still has a job, right? Now, he could be laughing to the bank with his Skinwalker books or whatever.
Right.
Sure.
And
All
everything else, Bob Lazar.
How many books has he sold? There's not a Bob Lazar book out there by Knapp.
He didn't have to. He was the story breaker. He didn't have to have it.
Why not write it? He wrote one on Skinwalker.
I don't know. You'll have to ask him. I don't know the answer to that. I'm
trying to get him. I'm trying to get Knapp.
I know.
I want to ask him those questions. I do. I want to try him. I'm trying, man. I'm trying my damnedest here.
So I also...
Are we taking a break at the top of the hour?
No, we don't take breaks. Do you need to? We can. I mean, I planned on it tonight. I actually did plan on a break, but yeah. Let's do it now, actually, while we're in a lull here, because I want to regroup and come back and I
just have to do a couple things for the show to set up. So that would be really cool if we could.
Yeah, so we're going to take a 5-minute to 7-minute break. I'll pull something up here for everybody to watch. And we'll be back here, GUFON Radio. It is the final debate, I hope, between Rich Giordano from GUFON Radio and Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, brother, and spacedoutradio.com.
Let's remember, this is all about fun, too.
It is. We're having fun, and I can't wait to kick your ass. I'll see you guys in 5 minutes. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, guys. I have something here you can watch.
A half-mile-long behemoth capable of generating 700
There we go. Oh, that's still Dave. Why are you on there? Let's get you out of there. Hold on. Here we go. Wait.
No control, just like your opinion.
That was nice. Good one. Good one. You probably wrote that one down at 1 o'clock today. All right. We'll be back in 5. All right.
All right, Rich, I'm stepping away for a couple minutes.
Official told us he still had no records on Lazar. EG&G, which is where Lazar says he was interviewed for the job at S4, also has no records. It's as if someone has made him disappear.
To Los Alamos from here, it was a 16-hour drive, and Bob had a friend there, and it used to take us like 24 hours to rebuild all these alpha probes. There was like 300 of them, and we'd clean them all up and then rewire them and then put the aluminum tape on them, and then we drive back to Las Vegas.
Alpha probe? Then technicians.
They scan for radiation of the people that go in and work in Los Alamos.
Oh.
And Bob had the contract. So we did that about every 6 weeks. So what we do is we try to, when Bob started to make some money on the photo business and the alpha probes,
Do you think Los Alamos just hired me out of high school?
When Bob started to make some money on the photo business and the alpha probes,
Welcome back to Coast. I'm George Knapp, joined by Gene Huff and John Lear, talking about the origins of the Area 51 story, how it all began. Gene, why don't you tell me how you met Bob Lazar?
Back then I was working at a place called National Appraisal Service down on Eastern Avenue in Las Vegas, and Bob owned back then, this was prior to digital cameras and good appraisal software, so real estate appraisals were still typed out, and actual 35-millimeter photos were taped or pasted in the pages of a real estate appraisal, and Bob Lazar owned the photo processing lab that serviced all the residential real estate appraisers in Las Vegas, so he was Bob the photo guy.
Well, this was before he's Bob the UFO guy.
Right. Well, he was still a pretty eclectic fellow. I mean, he'd show up for photo deliveries in a Honda with a jet engine in it, so he wasn't your normal guy. He looked like a scientist and was certainly an interesting guy, even if he owned the photo lab. And not everybody drives a car with a jet engine around Las Vegas, but certainly not in 1985.
And you were sort of instrumental in making the link from Bob to John Lear.
Right. I had seen John on the record with you and was really interested. I mean, John had a lot of UFO history.
We did a show called On the Record, and one of these shows that airs at like 6 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday that nobody watches, and it's a city councilman would be on, and there's John Lear unveiling his his beliefs about UFOs and government cover-ups and things, and all of a sudden the phone's ringing off the hook and people are paying attention and calling me up and, hey, when are you going to have that guy on again? So we had him on again, had him on a third time. It was even a bigger response, and that's sort of how I got hooked on this stuff, is that I thought, gosh, this touches the pulse of the public in a way that I had never been aware of before. I couldn't figure it out. So we thought maybe we would look into this. And in that third show, John Lear hinted that he might know a guy who was working out at Area 51 on recovered alien technology. You remember that show, John?
Yeah. And you called me up that afternoon and said, any ideas on what we can do for an encore? And I said, well, I have a friend that just got canned out there. Maybe he would want to talk. And then you set the whole thing up for that interview.
So through Gene Huff, you meet Bob Lazar. And
yeah, Gene called me and he said, I'd like to get a copy of all your tapes and stuff. And I said, well, I need an appraisal. And so we traded the tapes for the appraisal, and he brought over Bob Lazar to hold the measuring tape. And Gene and I are talking about UFOs, and Bob couldn't have been more disinterested. He was rolling his eyes. I mean, he thought this was all just baloney. He just couldn't believe it. He said, look, I worked at Los Alamos. If there'd have been anything like that, I would have known.
Well, first of all, I had known Bob Lazar that long back then, so we weren't as all buddy as we are.
Hey, can I get a copy of your UFO stuff? And I said, Gene, I'm out of it. My wife's, going nuts. I said, I just dropped everything. He says, well, in case you ever need a appraisal on your house, maybe we could work a deal out. I said, you're an appraiser? And at that time, I needed an appraisal to get a second because it was totally out of money. He said, yeah. I said, oh, well, listen, I'll give you all my stuff if you'll appraise my house. And from that day on, he has always held that against me because he had no idea how big this place was. And he claims he got the short end of the deal. But when he came over, the guy that was holding the measuring tape was Bob Lazar. And so Bob brought over his resume, and I'm talking, he handed it to me. And that's when I saw, the degree from MIT and the degree from Caltech.
Where is it? Show me the alternate reality that you believe that doesn't lock up with my actual reality. I mean, where are those other facts? Just show me what they are. These facts you grabbed together and painted a different story of my life than I did.
Could you reveal some of your professors at MIT and Caltech?
Yeah, if you want. I don't have a list of them here. Dr. Duxler, I think, was one of them, and Hochsfield was another. Hochsfield. Hochsfield or something along those lines.
They remember you?
Oh yeah, Hochsfield I know well.
These were at MIT or Caltech?
Hochsfield was at MIT. Duxler was at Caltech.
And what evidence to support that?
Right.
And what's the evidence to support those claims? Is that just something to say?
No, I'm just saying that's the kind of thing.
If you make a statement, you have to have some evidence to say where the statement came from. It's your base
point. He took Huff and a few others to the edge of the Groom Mountains to see the flights for themselves. A total of 5 witnesses on 2 consecutive weeks managed to dodge security patrols long enough to see the strange glowing object lift above the mountain.
It came up above the same mountain. It moved around. It did a step move. It actually went up in the air like this and hovered, then dropped way down. Then it just floated around and cruised around, and then it started coming up the mountain range.
This home videotape was recorded during one of the trips to the Groom Mountains.
All right, everybody. We are back live on GUFON Radio Stream. I'm your host, Rich Giordano, and we are debating the Bob Lazar story. I mean, Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio challenged me tonight for a nice discussion. We're having fun. The jerk-off came up with some good points, but we're going to see where we go from here. Nah, Dave and I said we're going to be friends at the end of this. Just a little joke because I love the guy. You know, we want to have this conversation, and hopefully it is for the last time, but it's something that Dave and I always butted heads on. Not to this extent, but tonight, you know, we're letting it fly, and I know some of you in the chat room...
I can't hear you, Rich.
You can't hear me?
I've lost my audio.
Dave lost his audio. Says he can't hear me. That's weird. You guys can hear me in the chat room. Yeah, I mean, everything looks good here. I don't know what to say, man. Dave said he lost me. Hold on, let me check. Everything looked good here on my end. That's weird. Okay, let me check something. That has got to be on Skype then. I bet you remember what happened when I was on your show? All right, here, I'll fix it. Watch. Hold on. No, it's working. It's on the right. It's on the right everything. Yep, I remember. You want to call back? No, call me back. Or I'll call you back. It won't affect it. Okay. All right. We're going to bring Dave back in here. Hold on a second. I think I realized what happened. I didn't he must be listening. Okay, I know what's going on. Oh, watch. I know.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, good. I know what it is.
What's that?
Tell me if you can hear me now. How do I sound now?
You sound beautiful.
I still sound good?
Yeah.
It must have been a Skype thing. Okay, because I was lowering the music little by little. You know how you fade it out?
Yeah.
I have to do it manually.
I had that trouble with Skype last night during my program, and I had to recall my guest, and I guess I should turn my camera on.
Oh.
I had to recall my guest and make it happen on that end. So
I remember. Yeah, it was a little choppy with him, but it wasn't horrible.
Yeah.
But all right. So we were talking about pretty much. We started out with the George Knapp and why Bob Lazar probably went public because he was afraid for his life, his story, and then me and Dave were getting into some. Well, in my mind, I think you have to think what you think. Say, I think this happened because the evidence is thin. And
oh my God, really? You're going to go there?
Look,
you're going to use that?
Now, a lot of people think Bob Lazar didn't want to speak, talk a lot, go to a lot of different shows because he's not that type of personality, right? Come on, man. The guy, the first time we see him, he's lying. He's Dennis in a shadow. So we already know he can lie. Then the next time he comes out...
yeah, but that... hold on. That happens all the time in news, dude.
You have to look at it from every single angle, Dave. That's called investigating.
Okay, so what you're doing right now is you are spragging the events, if we can use that term.
I am spragging right now. Well, you're not really bringing up a lot of valid points either, my friend. I don't see...
I've brought up huge points. Huge points.
Can you remind me? Like, what points are proven?
The entire journalism side, dude.
No, see...
The entire journalism story that you refuse to buy because you've never worked in a newsroom, so you don't know how it works. You're just working off of assumptions.
No, but I did. I worked with bosses. I've worked in environments with a lot of people to a few people. I've been in the environment where decisions are made from somebody up above because there could be lawsuits. I've been in that, not in a newsroom or anything like that. I understand it, but you explained it as best you could, and I thought very detailed enough that I would understand that environment. And I think we all can understand exactly what's going on. Now, I'm going to ask you something, and tell me.
Sure.
Has anybody ever been wrong in journalism? Even though they investigated and not lied, have they ever made a mistake where they were wrong?
Absolutely.
And then
absolutely,
and they still went with the story, right? Okay, so
yeah. Oh, hold on.
All right.
There's a caveat to that, though.
Of course.
If they are wrong, if they are wrong with the story, then you come out and you either print or go on air and you retract the statement. The statement by Knapp has never been retracted.
Right, and you know why, right? Because that would ruin his career
because it's
and the
real.
place where he worked.
Because it's real.
You got to look at both sides. No, you don't know that. What if George Knapp was duped, man? What if he was? But you're saying he can't be because he investigated it. Well, we don't know. We're only going by his story.
That's his job, Rich. That's
his
job.
I know.
That's completely his job. If you're in car sales, okay, and I'm the manager and I hand you a lead to a customer who wants to buy that new Corvette, that's what I do. That's your job. He did his job. He's not just going to run with it just because it sounds like a horny story. That's his job, is to investigate it. And what you're doing is you're saying that he doesn't do his job, that he just shows up, oh, let's just choose this whacked out story on the pillar and let's run with it. That's not how it works.
I never said that.
And I mean, you know,
you're implying that's how I see it.
That's the way you're implying it to your public, though.
No, I'm not.
You're better than that.
No,
you're better than that.
No, you're better at that than to accuse me of that, and that I don't really appreciate, because that's not what I'm saying. You're trying to put words in my mouth to win this battle, and it's not going to happen, because I'm not saying that. I'm saying George Knapp could have done everything humanly possible the right way, even took it to his boss, took it to his boss. And he said, go with it. I believe you. I trust you. You're George Knapp. And he went with it. And they never had to retract the story. And there's a reason for it. It went global, and that's why. Once you retract it from a globalized story, forget about it. You lose all credibility. Yeah, don't shake your head no, because that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying George Knapp could have been fooled. All of us could be. Why not? Why can't you say that that's a possibility? How can you say no?
Because if he was wrong, he would have had to have retracted the statement.
No, not necessarily. No, it doesn't mean
that's credibility, dude.
What if they don't retract it? But nobody knows the truth and nobody knows the lie. That's the thing. Nobody knows what's really going on here, because there's a lot of secrecy to what's going on here, and he can only take it so far.
Absolutely.
Right.
And we know it involves Bigelow. We know it involves Harry Reid. Right? We know that.
Wait, say that again. I was reading the chat room. What?
Oh my God! Really?
No.
Really? Hold on here. There's another shot with the steel chair right there.
Bitch, right there.
Another shot with the steel chair.
You're not supposed to hit the neck bone. Go a little lower next time. Damn it.
Right? No, I mean, once again, you're assuming the plausibility of that. If the statement was wrong, if the story was wrong, whether it went viral or not, they would have had to retract the story. They didn't retract the story because it is real. They obviously, in this case, George Knapp had the resources to prove that Lazar was there, which is why he ran with it.
There's no pictures. He's not even in the freaking.
You can't get a camera into Area 51. What are you supposed to do?
There's cameras there. What are you supposed to
do? Smuggle one? Yeah. Are they going to give up the videotape from Area 51? Oh, by the way, here's J-Rod walking around, or here's Bob. All happy in their little promo brochure that they fucking put on the goddamn road to Area 51. Oh, by the way, here's our promo. This is our UFO. This is our F-117. This is our B-2. Here's J-Rod hanging on out. Would you like to come work with us? Please apply with
those
EG&G.
That is 100 feet underground. He would never have access to that. Anyway, you can't just walk up there. I know that. But tell me, what is the proof that he worked there?
I just told you.
George
Knapp.
Oh, God
George
almighty.
Knapp is the proof.
George Knapp is not the proof.
Hugely.
He's part of it. He's part of it. He wouldn't. No, this is before he was part of it, Rich. I can't believe this. I can't believe you're relying on
2019 with 1988 again.
No, I'm not.
Or 1989
I'm not at all. No. Look, Corbell says he doesn't care about UFOs, you know, all that MIT, Caltech issue, everything else about his credentials. He lied. Bob lied. He didn't even know the name of one of his professors. How do you not know your Caltech professor's name? Everybody knows their name.
I'm not saying.
There's so many wrongs in this. I
agree with you. I fully agree with you.
But
there are a lot of wrongs in this story. I'm not denying that whatsoever. I'm not denying that. There are questions that need to be answered. His education. As I asked Jeremy Corbell, why hasn't Bob ever just walked up to the university in MIT or Caltech or whatever it is and said, hey, can I get a copy of my transcripts?
Great question. Why not?
Okay. And Jeremy's question was, we never really thought about that.
Oh, my God. How do you not think about that?
Granted, okay. If Jeremy had the budget to do it, I would have flown Lazar to MIT or Caltech and said, let's go up to the office and let's get your credentials.
I agree.
Okay, that's calling it down the middle, Rich.
I agree.
That's calling it down the middle.
Yeah.
We can agree on that.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah. And I don't disagree entirely. Look, I'm just saying, I think there's enough flawed evidence, okay, or non-evidence, if you want to say that, to put doubt in the mind of some of us that Bob Lazar may not have worked there. And look, and you refuse to look at body language and shit like that, and that tells a lot about a person. If you go back to 1989, whenever he went live and looked at those, there's a lot of problems with the way his body was moving, with the answers he gave. So maybe for another time. You
could confuse that with being nervous and scared that if his identity came out, that he would be killed.
No, because the body doesn't lie. It doesn't lie. It's in you. We all do the same things. And he made a lot of errors when he was answering. You could say that's why lie detectors aren't used in the court of law, because of the same thing. You can fake them out. And I believe he was nervous. Whether or not, I was nervous when I went on TV and I didn't even have anything to lie about. So I can't imagine coming out with this story.
Well, that's because you're unattractive. That's because you're unattractive, man.
I know. I have to use special lighting. You're right. I have to wear glasses. I get it.
Look at this. This is not pretty. This is why I say I have a face for radio.
How could
Bud, I just want to say one thing to the audience. If it looks like I'm being distracted, I'm actually setting up for Spaced Out Radio in about 42 minutes. So if everybody is wondering, Dave doesn't look like he's paying attention, I am listening, I am paying attention, but I also have to set up my rig and everything here to get it ready for my show tonight. So I just want to let everybody know that.
And let's do this, and let's end this in 12 minutes to give you 30 minutes. So let's do that, because I don't know how much more we could talk about, because Bob Lazar, I think, for a guy who can't remember when he graduated, I think it was 82. How do you not know? How do you not know the name of your professor? See what I mean? You can't remember the lie. If it's truth, you would remember everything. I don't
remember a couple of my professors' names.
Dude, if you worked for Caltech, you would know what year you graduated. Everybody does. I know when I graduated high school. How do I not know? How would you not know that? I remember 10 teachers I've had. He definitely remembers.
You don't remember how many chair shots you've taken tonight over your lack of argument and convincing.
Come to be honest with you, I didn't even feel anything, to be honest with you.
Well, that's because you're already brain numb.
I feel you've been walking into walls this whole time. You've stuck in your corner. You can't get out of it, and you're trying to throw chairs, and they're missing their mark. And I really think that you did not do a good job. George Knapp is the proof. No, that's horrible. That's an easy out. Didn't you have something big you were going to tell me?
That is just you in denial. You in denial, because it's easy for anybody like you in this field who has no lick of understanding of how journalism or newsrooms work to say, that's not true. That's not true. That's the way you guys go about things. But if you actually worked in a newsroom to see how see? It's exactly what I just said. Now you're copying me.
No, you're right. Because that's an awful thing to say. You're saying that I can't say that George Knapp is wrong because I haven't worked in a newsroom. That's kind of ridiculous. He could have been duped and not know it.
He wouldn't have been duped because the story wouldn't have made it on the air. This is too big of a story.
back then, if you think about
we're not talking about little Richie G back in his hooligan days when he thought soccer was cool. Okay, running around with his Everton shirt on, okay, trying to act all tough. Look at me, I play soccer, right? Oh, red card, right? It's not back in the days when you were stealing baseball cards off the flea market tables. We're not talking stories like that, dude. Do your teeth almost fall out there or what? They did, didn't they? Didn't they?
No.
They almost fell out. Yes, they did.
I took a swig of the drink, and the carbonation was so intense because I couldn't swallow, and it kept building up. I was laughing so hard. Oh, my God. I felt those chairs. I felt those chairs.
I'm just watching it right now.
Oh, no.
I have your leg. Dude, your face is redder than my T-shirt right now. Okay? You are down for the 3 count.
Yeah,
you are down for the 3 count. This is over. It's over.
What?
Just call your shot. Tap out, buddy. Tap out. This is fucking over.
No way, brother. I'm alive and well, and I'm coming at you live.
I just climbed over the steel cage and hit the ground. Winner.
You hit the ground. You missed me. I rolled to the left.
You did not even get to the fucking door. I climbed over the fence, raised my arms in victory. This is done. This is done.
I put reasonable doubt into the story. You put George Knapp.
Your chat room is agreeing with me that you are done. Rick counted the 3 count right there.
No,
all right?
You guys are unbelievable.
Adam, does he need medical attention? Right? B. Baker, we have flying teeth. Bart L. Producer, Dave got the choke out. Right there. Bart L., never good when carbonation takes you down. You're done. It's over.
Nope.
It's over.
Nope. They only raised my hand twice. The third one, I went halfway down, came back up.
I already climbed over the cage, man. No. You're lying in the center, bleeding.
Dave, you're still stuck.
And your teeth are on the mat.
Dave, you still think we're in the introductions. You're so far back in the story. You don't even know where we are right now. You're so dizzy.
See, now you're grasping. Now you're grasping.
I'm grasping?
You're grasping.
How am I
you
grasping?
Just lost. Your audience in your chat room says you lost.
I lost because I couldn't breathe from laughing? What kind of crowd is this? You guys know I'm right. You know that I put the
Rick
doubt.
In the chat room counted to 3. It's right there. That is pure evidence right there. He counted to 3. You're out. It's done.
Nobody.
It's done. It's over.
Oh wait, B. Baker said we're both down.
That's because I already climbed over the fence and touched the ground.
We're both down. No. Well, somebody has to come up with something quick. I tell you what.
That's because you can't. It's over. You're rattled. It's over.
You know why I win? Because you refuse to look at his body language, and that tells me a lot about how you look at this. You're one-sided because you're a journalist. You only think that journalists can be right because they do investigation like nobody else because you never worked at a room. You don't know what it's like to be in a newsroom. That's bullshittery 101.
Oh,
no way.
Here we go. You're spragging again. You're
no
spragging
way.
again.
I'm picking you up. I'm dropping you.
New term, by the way.
Yeah, it is.
That is a beautiful new
term. Unfucking real. That's the best term. I want to shake your hand, but fuck you. I ain't shaking your hand until this is over.
You see this, Rich? You know what this is? This is raising my arm in victory.
Oh, no.
Raising my arm in victory.
You're raising your arm because I'm picking you up and squeezing the air out of you.
Look at Renee. Look at Renee. No, Dave is having to do CPR on you, Richie.
Why would Dave do CPR? What is he trying to kiss me? I wonder.
You could only wish that this face for radio.
Well, with that long hair, I don't know if you're a chick with a beard or an Italian woman. I can't tell. I don't know.
You know what? You can throw all the chairs you want at me right now because the victory is already mine.
He finished at the bottom third of his class in high school. He wouldn't even be looked at Caltech. Do you hear what I'm saying? You're going up.
And I agreed
George
with you
Knapp.
on that point. I totally agreed with you. Don't even argue on a point that I agreed with you
I
on.
put doubt into this entire thing. Just by that alone is putting doubt into the story. So how can you say George Knapp did everything he could and he would never go with the story? People go with stories if they think they can get away with it. They thought they can get away with it because they thought it was the truth.
This isn't to the stars here, man.
It is.
This
it's
isn't
all the
to
same.
the stars.
It's all the same to me. You want to go public? You want to be the big shot in town? You want to come out with a story like this? I get it. But George Knapp could have been duped and didn't even know it. He could have just been part of the game. Look, the government is very good at coming up with these stories and these narratives and how to push people in the right direction. You know, you're in sales. You know how you can magically make a customer see as something really special when it's not even that special. You know, whatever it is you're selling. So I'm telling you, we were sold a bill of goods to an extent. I think Bob, yes, I think, because I think that thinking is part of coming up with what is the 3 for?
The amount of thinks you just said. We're counting thinks here.
Oh my God. What are you, in 5th grade? You're counting to 3. Very good. 3rd grade tactics. And I'm trying to be serious about this. And
Rick
Gianti.
Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the first inter-Bobberental champion, Dave the Humbler Scott.
Rick, you are now grounded for 30 days. See you tomorrow. No, I'm just kidding. I would never do that.
Hey, one of these days, Rick, I still have your beard. Or actually my beard for you.
I just don't. I don't see how you could win just by saying George Knapp is the reason. That is so lame. It's Bob Lazar is the reason we don't believe him. Look at the body language. I'll teach you what to look for so you learn. You know, you may want to watch a show or two here when I do that segment so you learn how people, yeah, that's right. Yeah, get all shifty in your chair. That shows how nervous you are about what I'm saying because you know I'm right. No. That's body language. I'm looking at your body language.
It's because I actually have bad knees. Yeah. See, if you knew that
bad
the weather
gas,
change up here is affecting my knees.
You know when you have gas, that means you're nervous. That means you're real nervous. You're trying to hide something. That's what you were just doing. You were leaning to the left, leaning to the right. You were trying to get it to come out quiet. I know you, the silent killer.
No, actually, I will tell you this, though. I've been farting all show, and you haven't even picked one up yet.
What's that? Wait, what? What'd you just say?
Yeah, I've been farting all show.
Oh.
You haven't even picked one up yet. Dude, you're dealing with an old school radio guy here. I know how to muffle.
So that's why you can't.
I had a big bowl of chili for dinner last night with hot sauce. My lunch today, another big bowl of chili.
That's why you always look like the cat that ate the canary when I look at you. You're just so happy smelling your own farts. You're like, I just farted and I knew it. Nobody knows. God, that smells great. Oh, that's chili. Yeah, that's chili. I can smell the pepper.
Ah, yes.
Well, you know what?
It wasn't the poutine. It was not the poutine, actually. You know what hits me though?
What's
like
poutine?
with a good chili is the beans. Actually, I get a little heartburn from those. I don't know why, but I do.
Yeah. I hear you. Well, let's do it. Before you get out of here, let's, if anybody thinks Dave won, put a number 1 in the chat. If you think I won, put a number 3. I would never say 2 because I know where that joke's going. So exactly. 1 for Dave, 3 for me. And we'll give you guys a minute to do that. So I know it takes 20 seconds for it to catch up. And before we leave,
we'll wait.
Now, Dave, you got your show on in about 32 minutes here, or 36 minutes.
Yeah, buddy.
Who's on tonight on Spaced Out Radio?
We're doing Ghosts of the Great White North. We've given Mike Moooon the night off. A buddy of his flew in from Australia into Vancouver on his way to Ontario. And so Mike is going to be hanging out with him tonight. So it's just me and Morgan Knudsen. We're just talking everything paranormal, ghost hunts, the Canadian wilderness of how untapped it is for paranormal and ghostly events. The further north you go, the more areas of virgin paranormal territory there is. And it's pretty amazing. So we're going to have some fun with that tonight, man. We really are.
That sounds awesome. I love those type of shows. And that's on at midnight 06 Eastern, 9:06 Pacific.
Yeah.
That's like in 30 minutes. So looks like the votes came in. I won. See? Just
There's
vote.
one vote there. One vote.
Well,
one
guys,
vote.
well,
I got Chianti. I got Bart L. producer. I got Bart L.
How do you know that? I don't
got
see
Trip.
I got Big Cat and Pat, so it's
Pat,
2-2.
Yeah, but Big Cat and Pat walk down the aisle with you
and those
to the
two,
ring.
you too.
Of course they're good. Of course they are going to be absolutely voting for you.
Dave, if you would have made your point better, they would have sided with you. Sorry. Liar. Cassandra says I won. That's 3-2. Look, she's always at your show. She, right? Yeah.
There is no way that Renee voted for you. Bart L? Ouch.
Yeah. You know why? Because
you
you only have George Knapp. I had all the other shit. George Knapp does not hold water with Bob Lazar's body language. His made-up stories about being shot at and killed and all that, or trying to be killed, people breaking into his house. It's all, look, FAP says me, number 3. Sorry.
Yeah, but he doesn't like any of my topics on my shows recently. So of
he doesn't
course
like mine either.
Let's talk about FAP here, because he's a cranky curmudgeon.
Really? I think he's awfully nice. I'd never thought anything.
Cranky.
Really?
Cranky.
Why is he cranky? I like FAP. FAP is never.
Oh, so do I.
Oh,
He's a
B.
good
Baker
dude.
went with 3. You didn't have to, B. Baker. You could have went with Dave. I understand why. If you're biased towards me, you don't have to worry about that. If you want to change your vote, I understand. 2 votes for the Bart.
The son of a bitch. It's amazing how Bart can just come in here and win it all. He could win it all, not do a damn thing, and he could win it all.
He did win it all.
Just shows his fucking presence and wins it all.
That's crazy. That's called a legend right there.
Absolutely.
That's
Absolutely.
legendary.
But you know what? Honestly, buddy, this was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun, and you are amazing at what you do. You are absolutely amazing at what you do, and I'm so humbled and honored to be able to call you a friend, and that we have this awesome relationship between GUFON and SOR. It just makes life a hell of a lot easier for all of us when we can come together. But the other thing that I want to mention, if people didn't read my blog in regards to what I wrote on you at spacedoutradio.com,
right.
I meant every word that I said in that about you, Rich. You're a jerk. You're a liar. You're an asshole. No, I'm kidding. I'm teasing. But no, seriously, Rich is seriously one of the only dudes out there who has the balls big enough to call these shysters out. And, I have been very passionate about it on my show. I haven't named anybody. And there are a number of people out there right now who are BSing the UFO field. It's not just about the information. It's about the self-titling. It's about the way they are treating the field.
Yeah.
And Rich is one of those guys. He's a real guy out there who is, and that's why in my blog I called you the UFO sheriff. And you're one of the guys out there who is really doing ufology a big service for what you are doing. You really do. All right. And you need to keep that up. Because I realize you're ruffling some feathers. There's some people who are not, following the task of anything that's going on. But you got to keep that up. You really do. And there's a lot of people who are supporting you because of that attitude, including myself. And I don't mind going on record for that, because the one thing that this field really, really needs is more honesty. It needs more honesty. It needs more people to stand up and say, we're not pulling the wool over people's eyes anymore the way that others have. I mean, people are getting television shows out of this. They are getting invited to these paracons or UFO cons all over the place, traveling all across North America on lies. and deceit
Right.
and pulling the wool over the public's eyes. And Rich, for people like you and Chris George Zuger and Chris Cogswell and a number of people out there who are sick and tired of seeing this stuff, you guys got to keep it going. You got to keep it going, because you guys are like the police and the sheriffs of ufology for doing that. So, I mean, just keep up the great work, bud.
Well, thank you. And I can't thank you enough for the blog. It was phenomenal, and you were right on every point. I'm not going to argue. And I know we just beat each other to death here, and you just gave me a lot of love, which I appreciate. And we know each other now, I think it's 5 years.
Almost 5 years. Yeah. I believe next month it'll be 5 years.
Yeah, it'll be 5. I used to host on Spaced Out Radio. I did my show there until I got sick and wasn't able to do a show for a month, I think it was. So who knows where we would be if I would have stayed. Who knows how things would have turned out. And, your show, and a lot of people think it's like every other show. It's not. It really isn't. And I've been listening a lot lately, more than I ever have, almost daily. And the reason I do that is to make sure you're not saying UFOlogy, number one.
I know.
Number two,
You've
it's a
cured
great...
me of that habit.
Number two, Dave, you've actually changed and grown over the years that I've known you. I have never heard you call somebody out the way you have before. Not calling them out like saying, I'm calling out this guy or that guy, but when you have a guest on and saying, really, do you expect us to believe that? How do you come up with that? You're asking some hard questions like I've never heard, and that is appreciated by all of us here at GUFON Radio. And that's why I think we have the crossover with fans and people who listen to us and like listening to the truth. So, with that being said...
And that's exactly it. And, you put on Erica Luke's page the other day a very terse comment about the barista. And it's one of those things where she actually messaged me and she's like, dude, boy, Rich went a little sour on that one. And I said, well, he's right.
Wow.
I said he's right.
And I was being calm.
Well, but here's the thing, okay?
Yeah.
Like I saw another post from someone else saying that the Baristas podcast is the best one out there right now. And Zuger jumped on there and said, if you believe in supporting someone who lies to the field of ufology, you go right ahead.
Good.
You go right ahead. And here's the thing. It's not that we're picking on this one person, even though we are. It's not that we're picking on this one person. To me, it doesn't matter. Like, I want to like the guy. I've heard good things about him.
Yeah. And
other people who are self-titling. But, and maybe your audience needs to hear it from me, and I got a couple minutes here. All right? And I want all of you to think about this for a second. If I go and steal the reputation that I'm a soldier, that's stolen valor. I can be arrested for that. I can be arrested for impersonating a police officer. I can be arrested for impersonating a doctor or a lawyer. There's a lot out there that any of us could be arrested for any type of stolen type valor. Well, me as a journalist, I take my career, when I decided to become a journalist and I went to school for it, I take it very, very seriously. Okay, I take my career very seriously. And it may not mean much to a lot of you out there because of the way the mainstream media has really, bumbled and fumbled its way to this bullshit fake news and political sides that it's gone. But I still love and appreciate old school down the middle journalism. Yeah. And when I see someone who tries to steal my career that I am very, very proud of, to enhance their own popularity, to enhance their own podcast numbers, to potentially getting television shows, to being invited to Paracons or UFO cons all over the place. When I see people like Giordano, never been invited. Chris Cogswell, been invited to one, his first one this year. This guy is in my opinion, is the future of ufology when it comes to science.
Yeah.
All right. I think he's the next Stanton Friedman if he plays his cards right. We have a lot of talented people, okay, out there who have never spoken or have only spoken once, maybe twice. Samantha Mowat, in my opinion, the best kept secret in ufology. Best kept secret. She's spoken at one conference. Her number 2 will be next week at UFO MegaCon. Right? She's incredible. Absolutely incredible. And Michael W. Hall, the paranormal lawyer, he's spoken at one. Okay, pardon me, 2 small ones, nothing big.
Yeah.
And you look at this list of people, and they go on and on and on of great people with great knowledge and great investigation or research, who've worked their asses off for this, who are not being invited because we have liars, cheats, charlatans, self-titlers who are stealing careers. I'm not down with that, man. I'm not down with that. Like in the case of the Bree stuff, I've had a couple people coming up to me and saying, dude, why are you going so hard on this? I said, because he's a liar. I said, I'm not talking on a personal level here, but on a professional level, he's a liar. And that bothers me. He's stealing my career.
That's why he can get away with it, because a lot of people don't know where some of us come from. I've never heard of him before, but he looks like a credible guy, or sounds credible. So they just let it go. They don't think ufology is important enough that titles matter. That's what can ruin ufology, though.
Exactly. and everybody's sitting there saying, oh, well, he's a good guy and he's this and he's that. That's fine. He could be the best guy ever. He could take your kid out for ice cream and babysit the child for the night while you go out on a date. That's great. Wonderful. I'm sure he's a good person. Okay. But people like that, and he's not the only one. Yeah. People like that are taking advantage of this field from the people who are working their asses off on a nightly basis. Like, I'm okay. I'm speaking at 2 conferences this year. That's pretty damn good. I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
I don't need 9 or 10 conferences. I've got other goals in mind. I've got other projects that are eating up my time. I'm very good with that. But when I see people who are stealing a career out of people who've worked their asses off for that career, okay, it's wrong. It's absolutely wrong. And I can't stand by it. And I wish I was in a position with Spaced Out Radio to be able to name names, but I'm in a different position. I can't right now.
Yeah.
I can't. Right?
Yeah.
Because it's so businesslike right now.
And that's what sucks. Okay, that's what I don't like about, because you're not really able to have like free speech in a lot of these cases because of advertisers or whatever it may be. And that is really frustrating. I see that with a lot of shows that are big, that if the host says something that's offensive to the people that, pay you to have your show, that you're able to keep the show running, then, they look at you like you did something wrong when all you did was tell the truth. So, that's why I'm kind of happy where I am right now doing this, because I'm able to speak any way I want to without having a repercussion other than from the person themselves or the people that follow them. And that I don't care about. I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm going to say what I want to say. I don't answer to anyone. And hopefully someday I do have to answer to somebody, and I'll find another way to get the truth out. But for now, this is what it is, and this is what we're doing. So we do the best we can with what we have, right? I mean, that's all we can do.
Absolutely. And what we need is there is a huge responsibility on the audience, Rich, and I got to end it right after this, and I apologize.
No.
But you know what? But there's a huge responsibility on the audience, whoever watches this, okay? It's your responsibility when you see these UFO cons or these paracons or these podcasts or radio shows or YouTube channels or television, that when you see these people who are out there lying, don't support them.
Right.
Don't support them. Don't listen to their podcasts. Don't listen to or watch their television shows. Call up these UFO conferences or paranormal conferences and say, you know what? Or hit them up on social media. All right. Hit them up on social media and say, you know what? Because you have a liar on your staff, I was going to attend your show. I was going to travel to attend your show, but I am not going to be doing that now because I can't support an event that supports people who lie, cheat, self-title themselves. And that's how this field is going to learn, because everybody says, oh, well, we'll just let that go because he's a good person or she's a good person, right? But it falls on the hands of the audience. You got to take responsibility. The people who already listen to your show or my show, they're pretty smart people.
Yep.
And not because it's you and I, but we don't have dumb people listening to us. Do you see? You know what I'm saying, Rich?
I definitely understand.
I mean, we've talked about this off the air. I mean, how blessed we are with the knowledge that our listeners have because they keep us on their toes. And that's why we got to bring that number one game every night, even when we don't have the energy to do it. We have to bring it because the audience deserves it, and they're going to call it out if they don't see it. Flannel or yoga pants? I got sweatpants on right now. Thank you.
I thought you were pantsless.
But no, I got sweatpants on.
Okay.
But
right.
Nonetheless, the audience, what these people need to do who watch this show, all right, they need to, when they're on Facebook or they're on Twitter or Instagram and they're in many groups or whatever, and they see these people posting or these, don't go after them rudely like, hey, you're an effing liar, you're not this, you're not that. No, but education is what you need. So when people start saying, oh, I like show ABC because the host is an investigative journalist. Well, no, they're not. Where's their credentials? What newsrooms did they work for? What outlets? What magazines did they write for? What television station did they work for? That's what needs to be asked.
Right.
Call them out, because you and I can do it, Rich, but you know what? In the end, we just look like assholes. I have already been called on Twitter. I've been called a whiner. Okay, that I'm jealous that I'm not speaking at 8, 9, or 10 Paracons this year. Right. And frankly, that's not the issue. That's not the issue. I don't care. I got 2 this year. I got one of the biggest ones in North America, Alien Cosmic Expo in Toronto, which Bart L has taken me out for poutine and beer.
Nice.
Right? Yeah. Nice. But the point that I'm getting at is we have, there's too many people out there who have been on my show, including yourself, who deserve this opportunity to stand in front of the public and talk real talk. And instead, we're getting charlatans up on the stage.
Yeah.
Looking at blue chickens, or the queen is a reptilian who's only 91 years old because she feeds off of virgin children. Right? Or I'm a barista, but I'm an investigative journalist. We get that. Right?
That's true.
So we all have to do our part. Okay? We all have to do our part. And there's a big responsibility on the audience, because if the audience doesn't support that, it doesn't fly and it goes away. So as much as there is a responsibility on our part, Rich, as hosts and as people in this to bring this logic to people, we also have to put a lot of that same onus on the public who is listening, watching, reading, to do their part to call this shit out too. It's just as much on them as it is on us.
I think so.
And that's all I got to say.
Well said. Thank you, Dave. Dave Scott, Spaced Out Radio, giving it the, well, I would say you really jumped off the top rope with that. But you hit, again, nothing. No, I'm joking. That was wonderful.
Are you kidding me? You and I are the ultimate tag team champions, buddy.
Yeah, we are.
You and I are the tag team champions.
We are. We are the best, I think. The best.
Let me tell you something, brother.
Well, I know you got a show coming up, brother.
I do, but I do.
So we'll come over there in a little bit, and thanks for coming on.
Absolutely.
I'll have to say it was pretty much a draw, even though I won. But I am glad you came on. That was a good challenge. And
always. Much love to all of you and your audience and everything like that. And I appreciate the love and support when everybody comes in and listens to my show after yours. It's greatly appreciated.
Well, thanks for that. And thanks for coming on. It was a great battle. Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio versus Rich Giordano. The final Bob Lazar battle is over. And we will talk to you soon, Dave. See you in a few minutes.
Yeah, see you later, guys. Take
All right,
care.
thanks, buddy. Bye-bye.
See you, bud.
It's hard to say goodbye. Yeah, pretty interesting tonight. Very good. I'm glad he came on and we did that. I know I didn't mean that to come out that way. I said you jumped off the top rope and hit nothing, but he actually, that if you were listening, that's actually wrong, because he hit the nail on the head with everything he said. And that's it. I mean, you guys think, and now here's me. Here's what I think. When I used to Jesus, I can't even remember the last time I was just a listener, but when I listen to other different, other shows of other topics that I'm interested in, I kind of feel like they don't need me. You know what I mean? Like, they're doing all the work anyway. What do you need me to do anything for? But it really is. It's not just me. It's not just Dave. It's all of us. I mean, we're all in this together. And if you guys want to have an opinion on something, that's fine. I would like to hear facts, though. I'm not always right. I can't always be right. It's impossible. This is the type of field where you have to be on. Like Dave was saying, no matter what, you got to be on. As soon as you show a little bit of softness, people will jump all over you. And that's why I never, ever wane on the intensity that we bring to the show, because it's important that you see how passionate I am, how Dave is, how other people are in the field when it comes to speaking the truth, with not what we perceive as the truth, the actual truth itself. Not just about videos, but about the people. How do they act? What's their history? Everything that goes into researching or investigating. Everything that goes into this field, it's not just a one-way view. It's every angle has to be brought in, and that's what's so difficult about this field and any other thing in the paranormal or fringe type of field, is that if you don't have the other viewpoints, people will jump all over you and say, you didn't say this, you didn't think of that. Well, you know what? I can't think of everything, but after a while, you do this a certain amount of times, there is a pattern of investigating that gets rather easy. So when I see a video or I see somebody I want to talk about, I've already done that analysis quickly in my head. And then I look into everything they've done and tear them apart. It's not fun, but it is. When you see something that's faulty and you're able to bring it out, like I did about the governor of Phoenix, Arizona. He lied about seeing the Phoenix lights that night. Blatantly lied. And he was on UFO Hunters and interviewed with Bill Burns. They were doing a pre-interview. And when I was on Bill Burns' show a couple of years ago, we were talking about him and how the governor of Arizona, Fife Symington's his name, how he first came out with the fake alien. One of his co-workers was dressed as an alien. And the community was going nuts over the Phoenix lights. And he goes, we caught the perpetrator. This is the one. And they bring out his friend in an alien costume, takes off the alien head. And Fife Symington goes, you guys just take this stuff too seriously, or something like that. And it made everybody pissed. Everybody was pissed. Ma, meatballs. People were pissed. Years go by. All of a sudden now, he's not the governor of Arizona anymore. He wants to tell his story, how he saw the Phoenix lights. But the time frame and everything he told was wrong. Everything he interviewed with Bill Burns was a completely different story than what he told the other reporters. So we've had 2 or 3 different stories from Fife Symington. He said he saw the Phoenix lights when he couldn't have. They have already passed by. How could you have seen them? He says they were on the news. They were talking about how could they? If you got home at 8:30, nobody knows about the sighting till 10. just too many things. That's what I'm saying. Even the people who look credible, sound credible, people who are sincere, you hear that a lot. Sincerity is not a check for the truth. Is it? I mean, are we that gullible that we're going to buy it just because he's the governor, or, you know, he's a real nice looking guy, or he speaks so eloquently? Why would he lie? His demeanor is beautiful. No, no, and no. That's what I was getting on Dave about. I'm like, you need to look at the body language too. It's not just about paper trails and storytelling. It's what the body tells you too. The facial expressions, the micro expressions. I couldn't remember what the words were. My dog is barking. It's not time. He's deaf. This is a field that takes more than just one person. I remember I was getting real angry after doing the show for like 5 years, and I was pissed. I was just like, you guys don't really care. You know, I said, everybody, let's go onto this guy's video. If you think it's a thumbs down, I didn't tell people go there and hit thumbs down. I said, if you think that's a thumbs down, you hit a thumbs down and comment. Not one person would go. No matter how many times we talked about certain people back then, nobody cared enough to go and look at the videos and give it a thumbs down or even comment and put that person in check. So I put the question out there, which is the reason I'm talking like I am. The next show I was real angry. I go, not one person. And we used to have a lot of people in the chat room, like 30 to 50 every Sunday. It was crazy. Well, Blog Talk Radio was the only place that, you know, we could do this for free. And not one person made a comment, gave a thumbs down, or even watched the video. Hell, it was hard to get my co-host to even watch the videos I would send him. You know? I think if you're a casual observer of ufology, which I think most people are, I know a lot of people here in the chat, you guys are not casual observers. I know that. But I'm talking about most people, you know. They don't care. I think the last 10 years, it's gotten better. And at the same time, it's gotten worse. So 2 steps forward, 3 steps back. Is that what they say? 2 steps forward, 1 step back? No. 1 step forward, 2 steps back. Oh, that's right. Thank you. So look, no matter what we do here on this show, you gotta contribute somehow. That's all we're asking. Just see if don't take our word for it. I always tell everybody that. Go there and look it up yourselves and do the research yourself and see if we're telling it. Correct me. I want to be corrected. I love when I'm wrong. That's why I'm up for any debate. And I saw the Catholic people were here, traditional Catholicism, I think it was, are asking us to go to their Thursday show and debate them on anything. And we will take them up on that. I don't think it'll be this week if it's only on Thursday, but I will look into that channel and see what I'm getting into. I'm not just going to go over there and say, I'm here, without knowing what I'm getting into. I mean, these could be geniuses that we're going up against. I don't know. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me again, and a third time. Good old George Bush. Brother. All right. Look, that's it for tonight. We're doing 2 hours. I thought tonight went great. Thank you, Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, joining us for the final debate of Bob Lazar. Everybody who came into this chat room, listening and watching elsewhere, I thank you all for checking out the show. I know some of you, it's your first time here. Tell your friends, like and subscribe. You know, it doesn't hurt. And here's where you can go. Hey, GUFON.org is down tonight. I don't know if it's because the bills are paid. I don't know what's going on. I think Victor said he had so many people going to the site this week. He was getting notices from GoDaddy about extending The bandwidth? I mean, I didn't know you had to do that on a website. I guess you still do, but it might be just like the introductory offer. So we may have to increase the what do you call it, bandwidth. So that's good. So GUFON.org. Once it's back up and running, you can donate there. Listen to all the shows in MP3 form if you can't watch it while you're driving, right? And also GUFON.net, which is actually GUFONnetwork.ning.com. You can go there, right? And you can see everything. It's a whole community that'll be updated tomorrow like you wouldn't believe. I haven't been updating it, and I'm sorry. Also, you can listen to the show 24/7 on shoutcast.com. That's right, shoutcast.com. You can listen to this show. 10 shows are uploaded every week, just randomly, from the AZ UFO show, Paranormal Code, Rich Giordano show, Paranormal Empire, to GUFON Radio. And you can go there and listen 24/7 if you want. And what else? That's it, right? You can follow me on Twitter at GUFON Radio, and Facebook, GUFON Network. And here, if I didn't put it up, I don't think I posted it. There. Oh, yeah, it's up on the screen. So I want to thank everybody hanging out tonight. It was so much fun. I can't believe it's over already. 2 hours is easy. Hey, Friday, we got John Mendez who's coming on. He paints pictures that give off energy and has healed millions of people. So he'll be on Friday. So we have another guest. Look at me. GUFON Radio out. Thank you all. You know who you are. Thank you, B. Baker, for moderating. I didn't know if you needed to tonight, but thank you. He is the moderator for GUFON Radio Stream. I'm your host, Rich Giordano. We'll see you Friday. Keep an eye out in case secret shows pop up out of nowhere. Guys, have a good night.